Great, and welcome back to Connection Summit. We are glad to have you back after a couple of our sessions earlier today on home services and DIY security pro installation. I am very pleased today to have Jim Hunter joining us from Delos. Jim is an industry veteran. If you've been in a smart home or connected home space over the last few decades, you have probably met or spoken with Jim. He is now working with Delos as the CTO, and I'm very pleased to bring him here today to talk a little bit more about health and wellness in the smart home, and really specifically looking at different things that are getting integrated in the home and within buildings, having an immense impact on consumers' lives. So we're going to start now and see if Jim can give us a brief introduction of Delos and maybe a little bit of his background. Again, I want to thank CTA and CES for the invitation for Parks Associates to participate again and host our 15th annual Connection Summit. We'd like to recognize and thank the sponsors of our event, also note our supporters, and thank our speakers for their participation throughout our sessions. So again, I'm very pleased to bring Jim Hunter, CTO of Delos, together with us today. And Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you here to do a brief introduction.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you to Parks for welcoming Delos to talk about the all-important issue of the health that we have in our own lives. And specifically, now that we spend more time indoors, it's even more important that we have these conversations. Normally, we would say we spend about 90% of our lives indoors, but the last year has changed that. And what's important to know about that is if you actually look at the breakdown of what affects human health, there's the environmental and social impact that we put ourselves into. There's genetics, there's medical care. Those make up the majority of what drives our health, but over half of that is the social and the environmental situations we find ourselves in. So it's extremely important that we are careful with, as we know now, what we breathe. The air, the quality of the breathing, the quality of the things we bring into our body, the water quality, the entire environment around us really does affect our health in the long run. So Delos is a company that really focuses on these things. We have been working for many years with major medical institutes around the world. We're partnered with Mayo Clinic, for example, up in Rochester. We have a facility called the Well Living Lab. We work to explore how we can improve human health and human wellness via technology. So things like adjusting the lighting in your environment to make it more natural, or adjust the lighting or the air quality rather, and make it more pure. Same thing with the water. Really leveraging the things we can to bring the outside in to spaces where we live, work, play, and sleep.
Great, thank you for that introduction to the company. And we understand that Delos has raised over $230 million since its start, and now valued at over $1 billion with its various initiatives. Jim, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself and then how you came to be at Delos?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been, as you noted, I'm an industry veteran. I think Jill Jacobson called me a fixture at one point. I've been in smart home for a very long time. In fact, I remember, I think back in '96, sitting with Tricia and a few folks having just a panel about smart home way back then. So this has been my passion since I got out of the military, and it's been really something that drives me is how do we make our lives better through technology? We have challenges using technology to make our lives better. So when the opportunity with Delos came along, it was like a match made in heaven. I like to say that the ability to use technology is like a superpower. Well, this is using your superpower for good. And that's what I really feel like. So what we build is products. You mentioned there's a range of products that we build, everything from a product we have called Darwin, which we have deployed in Australia and here in the US, working with major builders to take those aspects of health and safety that I described, of the air quality, the water quality, the ability to bring comfort and then natural lighting into these spaces. We work with builders in the US and Australia with that, as well as high-end homes. We have a relaxation and meditation product called Mind Breaks that is designed to bring custom content that will help you relax and help you achieve a certain state of rest and peace. We have products that are working with major hotels called Stay Well, so that we can do the same thing we do in the homes in hotels, so that when you stay, you have an option to upgrade your room and have just the best possible experience by removing all the impurities and the artificial things in the room and replacing them with natural products. And we also have a wholly owned subsidiary called the Wellbuilding Institute that has a wellness standard. We're in approximately 750 million square feet around the world. And what we do is to have a standard. We're in the second version of it, so that when you build a building, you think about the people inside the building. So there's a very clear kind of process of identifying how to help those people be healthier in the buildings by working with the construction companies and working with the technologies that go into that building to make it better. And just we are actually about to launch nationally a brand new standard as well called the Well Health Safety Seal. And the Well Health Safety Seal is something that we've taken the same principles that we used for well, and we have circled them around this idea of how do we help people be aware that the spaces they're going into are as healthy as they possibly can, especially in this time, in this day and age that we live in. So that focuses around the cleanliness and sanitation, emergency preparedness programs, the way the company communicates, air and water quality management, health services and resources. All of these things work to basically qualify that particular company to put the Well Health Safety Seal on their front door. And as an example, Dallas Cowboys, JP Morgan Chase, Cavaliers, the New York Yankees, they have all are signing onto the program, and they're certifying their spaces, their stadiums, their arenas, their businesses, so that when people come to these places, they will not think twice when they open that door, because they will see that they've gone through the processes, and all of those things I've mentioned have been taken into account through an independent third party verifying that, so that they feel better. And now what I'd like to talk about here with you today is how we can bring components of that into people's daily lives in their homes.
Well, sure. There's so many initiatives and so much impact I imagine that you all are having in terms of meeting those needs. But let's turn to the smart home and a little bit about 2020. Can you share what some of the things that your group saw as 2020 unfolded? You know, dramatic changes in consumers' lives, virtually everybody being impacted in one way or another, including with business and education for children. So maybe give me a summary of some of the things that you all noted in 2020.
Absolutely. I think probably one of the biggest is the recognition that the air we breathe can be an issue, and the actions to make that as good as possible. So we partner with a company called Healthway, and we have a product that we've been deploying in not in homes, but it's available in homes. I think that's the reason I'm bringing this up, in major schools. So New York City public school system, we're supplying about 60,000 of these units for schools, so the kids can go back to school and be in the safest condition possible. Same thing for Chicago, same thing for Miami-Dade. So being able to put products in place, and these products are not expensive. These products are designed to fit into a space, go onto a wall, and to clean the air in a way that's even better than most of the filters today. One of the problems we have is the pathogen that we are fighting, the COVID virus, is very small. Of course, it contains itself inside water molecules, but it is a very small thing to filter. So we've worked specifically with companies that are building technology that can get you all the way down to 0.007 microns, which is smaller than the virus. And that I think is extremely important, that we do what we can to make it as safe as possible when people do have to come to situations where you have groups together, and school is a perfect example of that. Additionally, the Well Health Seal was a big move for us. But let's talk about what we're doing in homes. In homes, the technology that we're bringing to schools, we can now put into the homes, right? So that's the first thing. And not just us do it, but we've been working with and engaging the Custom Electronic Designer Association groups like HTSA. So the custom installers now have options to actually sell into the spaces for the folks that they're actually servicing. Again, air quality taking the lead on that. Additionally, we have been working with a lot of different companies. So the way that all this comes about is through science and research. We have science and research deep in our bones, in our DNA. And that science and research really came to play when we set up our subsidiary, the International Well Building Institute, set up the COVID task force earlier in the year. We brought together about 500 professionals, including the ex-Surgeon General of the United States, major medical, all came together in this task force to identify what's necessary that ultimately kind of boiled out to the well health safety rating, so that we could do the responsible thing, bring the right brains and the right science and research to bear on the challenge at hand. And I think that as we go forward, you're going to see a lot of what you're going to find in the outside world start to be reflected back into the homes. So there was a lot of learnings. There was a lot of guidance that we gave over the last year from our labs division, as well as now understanding how to properly message and manage the challenges that this particular era in our human history has brought.
Well, sure, and our consumer research is certainly showing reports back that consumers have a great deal of concerns around things in their home and the awareness of healthy, that healthy mindset, and also a big willingness to spend money to help bring solutions into their home that assure them of air quality and or other things that might be going on in the background. Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the integration of different products and standards. There's a lot of new initiatives and ongoing initiatives that have been taking place. CHIP has come up quite a bit, and so wanted to see if you could share your perspective on that new initiative, what your thoughts are on that, particularly given your decades of experience in the smart home space, and where you think that might take us in years to come.
Yeah, I remember about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you did a panel, and you included Dr. Wax on that panel and some other folks. And Dr. Wax quoted a favorite quote that we have in this industry: "The best thing about standards is so many to choose from." I think CHIP is different. I think one of the things that CHIP does is it recognizes the need for a variety of underlying technologies to fulfill the actual promise of smart home. And in doing that and abstracting up into that, let's just call that the application layer, that area where you're kind of putting a common language around everything, I think that is tremendous in moving us all forward, because companies can continue to choose the technologies they want to choose. I saw the discussion you were having with Silicon Labs and talking about whether it's Wi-Fi or whether it's Bluetooth or whether it's Z-Wave or Zigbee or whatever. And I think all of them have their merits, and all of them will continue to provide value. And the goal here is to let's go above that physical layer, and let's get a common language across all of these. And I think that the CHIP, especially with the big participants that are in that endeavor, they're all coming together with a common voice. And I think that that's what's necessary. That's what we've needed for a long time, is to really have that partnership and really have these folks come together. So CHIP is different, and it's extremely exciting to me from that perspective. So I think that one has the most hope that I've seen in a very long time, because, and I heard this in some of the other panels you guys had today, just talking about that interoperability needs to just be a given. And that is the bar, the lowest bar, is these things just have to work together. Customers don't know about technology. They don't know about this platform or that platform. If I've got Apple, if I've got Google, I've got Amazon, I got whatever I have, I expect it to work. It's smart, right? That's the word we use.
Yeah, we completely agree with you. And I think consumers do expect things to work. And, when they don't work, then the consumers will not continue to buy those products. And so that first experience that they have with smart home technology can really have an impact in terms of the future purchases. Of course, there's always the early adopters who will go out and buy the latest, greatest, best new tech thing, and maybe even understand that it's brand new and it may have some issues. But moving to mass market, we do need to get back to where we all see this going, which is that simplified, easy user experience where the consumer isn't really worried about anything. Like you said, it just works.
I've got enough friction in my life. I don't expect my technology to bring friction too.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a big point of frustration too. I'm sure we both have experiences around that. You might have heard in that conversation earlier with Silicon Labs a little bit about the Sidewalk, Amazon Sidewalk initiative there. Do you have any comments on that in regards to the network and what they're working on with that?
I think in general, I love the idea of leveraging technology in a way that helps builds out from the home to the society and can help us live safer and healthier lives. I love that idea, but I think it's extremely important that the companies that deploy that be responsible when they do. I remember when Sidewalk was first brought to my attention because it was automatically turned on my devices. I didn't have that choice to opt into it. So I think that in general, there's a key word that I know we're going to get to in this conversation with regards to my technology. It's I'm bringing this new foreign thing into my life. So the most important thing I have to have right off the bat is trust. I have to be able to trust that to do its job, trust it not to take my information and give it away, trust it to maintain my privacy. As long as I can do that, I think that I'm willing to have that ongoing, growing relationship with that technology. But as soon as it lets me down, as soon as it shows me that it's not doing the right thing, then you obviously reevaluate it. And when companies come out with a product, and by default they turn it on without really making it abundantly clear what it is and what it's doing, I think that kind of starts to eat away at that trust and brings a challenge.
Yeah, I think you're right in that regard, and that there's very kind of walking a line there, being very careful over the communication, the messaging, and then the actual execution of getting consumers involved in kind of opening up their networks for outside use. I'm sure Amazon is working very hard at that, and we'll continue to watch that unfold. But let's maybe change directions a little bit. I know you all have announced a partnership with Crestron, and wanted to see if you could share a little bit more about what's involved there and what that looks like. Partnerships are driving a lot of the ultimate experience at home for consumers, given the integration of different products, and so this is of great interest to our audience.
Absolutely, and I think that the key word there, partnership, is one of those words that we've been looking for a long time as an industry. And I think that to explain kind of the partnership with Crestron, it just makes sense. We are the wellness experts, right? We understand the importance of the air quality, sensing the air. I haven't mentioned that yet, but it's not just about fixing the air, it's about knowing when to fix the air. So the air quality, and letting people be aware and even reinforce the idea that the product's doing its job and bringing it into their mindset. And then the lighting, being able to control the lights in a way that doesn't put the blue light on when you're not supposed to, right? Because we're very, very much programmed by blue light. It's there to make us so that we can be alert when we need to be alert, and when it goes away like it's supposed to, it helps us to sleep when we need to sleep, so that we can be more productive and more creative and to continue to live healthy lives. And by partnering with Crestron, who's just a leader in this industry and has been for the longest time in the control sector and in all these different areas, it's again, I'll use the word match made in heaven. It's just bringing this technology company and this wellness company together and working together to now infuse these things with the concepts of wellness and health for the people that are in the house. I have this quote that I've used for many years, and it really comes into play now. If technology is not here to make our lives better, what's it good for? Do we have it to raise our frustration levels? Well, it's doing that, but for the most part, it's here to make our lives better. And this is a great example of technology helping to make our lives better. So we're working with Crestron diligently, and you'll hear a little bit later in the year of some products that we're working on together.
Well, that's great. And I know traditionally Crestron has served the high-end market and know that they are kind of moving down a little bit middle market to offer some new
Yep.
products that could be less for the high-end home, I guess. And so is that part of Delos's overall vision, is to be in every home and to help serve every consumer? Obviously, rolling out with Crestron is a great start to get into those high-end homes. But can you speak towards other efforts that you all might be working on?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just address this. The founders of this company are the most altruistic people you'll ever meet. They want to help people live better lives. Solid. It's from the heart that they actually feel this way. So you'll see that everything that we do, from the relaxation products I've mentioned to making it better to stay in the hotel to making people's lives better in the home, it's what this is all about. And I think that it's important to kind of keep something like that as your compass, right? So as we keep this as our compass moving forward, this wellness and this ability to help, sure, the more homes that can actually experience this, the more spaces that can actually experience this, the better off we'll be. And what you're addressing is the mass market move that Crestron's doing by releasing this product called Crestron Home, which is designed from a pricing perspective and a functionality perspective to bring the best of Crestron, but to bring it at a more affordable price range to affect more and more people on this planet. That's absolutely one of the keys of why we've engaged them, is because we know we can get to more homes and more families and help people live better lives in a larger count.
Sure. Well, and that's great. Thank you. What about looking at other health devices in the home? So we've talked a little bit about air quality and lighting. We know from our research that consumers are adopting connected health devices at a rapid pace. And so how does that play into Delos's vision of the future?
So I would say that health devices, and when we get into the very clear health devices of temperature measurement and reading basically the diagnostics of us, we tend to try to stay in the area where we're trying to help improve the quality of our environment and our surroundings, and not necessarily in the diagnostics of us. That opens up a brand new opportunity, and it's being met with a lot of different companies. And frankly, it makes complete sense. We have found in the last year that it's safer to we'll be afflicted with a condition that is not COVID, and we'll think twice about going to the emergency room because we don't want to contract COVID because just to get a measurement or just to get a reading. So it makes sense that the diagnostics would start to become more and more remote, so that we can do these things without putting ourselves in harm's way or burdening doctors directly, right? Taking their FaceTime, taking them directly one-on-one, and they could be helping other people with problems that we might have, yet still achieve the same information and the same feedback that we could get. So I think remote health is extremely important, but it's something that is adjacent to what we do, but we're really about improving the space within the four walls and the roof.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense. Thanks for that. Okay, well, we only have a few more minutes left. This time has gone by really quickly. So okay. I wanted to get some feedback from you on looking ahead to 2021. There is still so much uncertainty about just the world we live in and how things are going to unfold with the virus, and whether we'll need to continue to do what we've been doing, the rollout of vaccine, different administration. Can you speak towards what you see for the smart home in 2021?
I think the biggest thing and the most important thing for the smart home, or more specifically, the smart spaces that we find ourselves in. Due to the pandemic, we find ourselves in our homes. I think the most important thing that we do is continue to be, diligent in our protection of ourselves and our families. And part of that is knowing the information that's available. Part of that is to be able to understand that the air quality is as good as it can possibly be. Part of that is to make sure that the choices that I make are as good as they can be from that whether I'm going to bring folks into my home, all these type of things. But besides what we do, and I'll talk from an industry veteran perspective, I do believe that now is the time more than ever that we just kind of recognize that it's time to put diagnostics on human beings. And I don't mean that in a privacy violating way or anything like that. We can completely control where that data goes and how that data moves. But the more we know, the more we can prepare as a society. I've spoken before about this, but there was a company, and I'm not going to pull the name up right now, but they had a connected thermometer, something as simple as a connected thermometer. And they specifically did a study across New York City. When the outbreak back in March was really bad in New York City, they were able to see, and Florida as well, they were able to see the temperatures, average temperatures of people rise, and you could plot the curve 18 days ahead of the outbreak. So if we can take information and know where the threat is, and we can properly, staff for it and properly man for it and understand what's there, we have a much better chance as a society to deal with the next thing that comes along. And it all comes down from information. Ignorance is what keeps us in the dark. But the more we know, the more we understand, the more we can look at the cause and effect, the better position we'll be in as human beings to actually make a go of it the next time a challenge like this comes along.
Well, that's great, and that'll have to be our last word. I think you hit the nail on the head. Data and information is critical to our understanding and what our experiences are. So, Jim, I want to thank you for your time and contribution here today, and really for decades of contribution to the industry. We very much appreciate you, and so thank you for joining us today. Our next session that will be coming up here in just a few minutes is focused in on healthcare and independent living. And then we'll be talking about privacy and security following that. Again, a reminder, if you are interested in amplifying your company's message about the connected home space, please consider Parks Associates as one of your partners. We are dedicated to providing insights that are reliable and accurate to the industry to really help serve everybody, to help grow the industry, to help serve the consumer. And so again, we have our events as a great platform. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email or any of our team members. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you for being here, and we will have our next session starting soon. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Hello, my name is Elizabeth Parks, and I am the president of Parks Associates. Welcome to Connections Summit at CES. This is our 15th annual event to host in partnership with CTA and CES. We thank them for the invitation again to participate as a partner and for their support throughout the year. We also want to thank you for your attention and participation today as we share more data and continue to have great conversations about the growth of the connected home. I'd like to take a moment and highlight a few things about Parks Associates. If you aren't aware, Parks Associates is entering its 35th year in business in 2021. In 1986, Parks Associates was founded by Tricia Parks, our CEO, my mom, and my best mentor. She started Parks Associates following her VP of Research position at Future Computing. Since then, we have helped thousands of companies navigate the connected consumer industries, providing insights, consumer and industry data, and trends on technology enabling smart home and connected entertainment applications and services. Our research practice is fairly traditional. Each year we produce over 100 syndicated reports, studies, trackers, and market assessments. About half of our research practice for our clients is custom work. We do anything from focus groups to consumer survey work to quarterly business reviews, go-to-market strategy, and consulting using Parks Associates data as the foundation of knowledge. We study the connected home across two large categories: the smart home, including home security, smart home devices, energy management solutions, and health and independent living. and the Connected Consumer Electronics and Entertainment category, covering CE devices, entertainment services and content, and broadband services. We also look at the SMB market, given that many technologies for the consumer market also apply in that environment. We also closely study all the technologies and standards that impact the home across all applications and services, like 5G and 10G, support services, AI, and machine learning. We also typically host 6 executive conferences each year in person, bringing together over 3,000 senior executives in technology. We have 3 smart home and home security events, including Connections Summit at CES, our signature Connections Conference this year celebrating its 25th year, our Connections Europe event, our Smart Energy Summit in February, our Connected Health Summit in August, and our Future of Video event in December. In addition, we have custom marketing services where we offer sponsorships of our white paper and webinar content with lead gen services. This year, we will be presenting our events virtually throughout the year, offering a unique opportunity to listen to our analysts and industry leaders. Parks Associates' mission is to be the leading provider of knowledge for the technology industries, facilitating better business decisions and providing best-in-class networking experiences. In 2021, our smart home research will focus on the state of the smart home market and tracking adoption and use of devices, the unified consumer experience, barriers to adoption, the buyer journey, new areas of opportunity like air quality, and smart home opportunities in MDUs and multifamily environments. Our home security research is focused on tracking usage, attrition, analysis of providers, opportunities with adjacent markets, new competition, and purchase triggers and trends, among other topics. Our annual security dealer study, which will be in its 9th year in 2021, helps us better understand the dealer mindset, and especially in 2020, the shifts that have occurred for this important group. In energy management, we'll take a look at adoption of EVs, solar, demand response programs, and how the smart home can help utilities achieve some of the net zero goals in place. This is an enormous topic of conversation in 2021. In the past year, we've seen sales of CE devices at their highest since 2012. We will continue to track adoption of the most mature categories and the emerging device categories like mesh networks and various home networking equipment. This area of our business is foundational to our knowledge of the consumer at home. Connectivity is driving everything right now for the use of technology, along with the devices that enable new applications and experiences for consumers. Our 2021 broadband research is focused on the state of the broadband market, transformation of communications for consumers at home, and shifting preferences for fixed versus wireless services. As a result of connectivity and device adoption in the home, disruption in digital media continues on. Our entertainment content research in 2021 will analyze gamers, consumption of digital media, and the impact of new formats like short-form content. Pay TV services have been in decline as OTT services have been on the rise. Entertainment is also a huge area of focus for Parks Associates. And in 2021, we will continue to track the OTT market through our OTT tracker and provide extensive consumer and industry insights on new business models, subscription services, and consumer video consumption. Connected health is another important topic we've been focused on for almost 15 years. This year, obviously, COVID has had a remarkable impact on consumers and their healthcare. Our research in this area is focused on the technologies, the devices, and the services in the home that can support consumers living safely and independently as long as possible. Lastly, our support research covers the professional support market for consumers and a focus on the SMB markets. As the home continues to be a more complex environment, consumers will seek professional support to ensure their devices work, as well as consider additional services that might add additional value. Remote work is also a huge driver of support services for consumers at home and all size businesses. We hope that if you're considering any market research needs, you consider Parks Associates. As a small family-owned and woman-led business, we understand the importance of a partner with a foundation based on integrity and excellence. Our team is dedicated to the support of these industries through reliable and accurate insights and an understanding of the players and their ecosystems. If you want to brief with our team, participate in our events, need extensive research, or just want to catch up on the latest research we have, please visit our website at www.parksassociates.com or reach out to me directly on LinkedIn or via email at eparks@parksassociates.com. We look forward to working with you in 2021. Please send us any feedback on your experience at Connection Summit at CES or any of our research. We wish you the best in 2021 and look forward to talking with you soon.